Since both the subject and the object of experience are consciousness, the object merges in the subject like water with water. Thereby experience arises. So the object merges in the subject like water with water. It's attention merging with its own notion. The attention identifying with what it's attending to. This is what the attention does. The attention focuses on something and it merges with it, and what we have is just the something. We have the something. We have creation. The world appearance. Thereby experience arises. Otherwise, if this were not so, there could be no experience, as between two pieces of wood. In the object there exist the various elements, earth, water, etc. In the subject there exists life force, mind, jiva, etc. So this is a different theory of perception to the modern scientific one. But these are not pure consciousness. They are the apparent appearances that arise in consciousness. In other words, they're notions. Hence they are in fact unreal. Since the unreal can have no existence, it is clear that the reality or the infinite consciousness of Brahman alone exists. So this is about being established once again in the infinite consciousness. I'm trying to understand why it is that we're not established in the infinite consciousness. And we're not established in infinite consciousness because we're hoodwinked into believing in the reality of our own notions. And notions are only that. What is the reality of a notion? Well, in one sense it's big. Notions are the reality of our culture. Of all cultures, it's the reality of religion, of politics, of science, of art, of social interaction, stereotypes, money, nationhood. This is our reality, and it's all notional. When the dream objects of the person sleeping next to you come to an end on account of the dreamer waking up, you do not lose anything. What is the reality of your partner's dream or somebody else's dream? It has no effect on your own consciousness at all. And this is the same as our notional reality. Our notional reality is somebody else's dream, and we could regard it as such and be established in our own reality. You do not lose anything. You do not lose anything by regarding nothing as desirable. To the one who has risen above the ego sense, the whole universe appears to be worth less than a blade of grass. In other words, this isn't to diminish the universe, but as an object of desire, as something which contains objects of desire, it's worth zero. Such a person is not tempted by anything in the three worlds, and to him the status of even the gods is worth less than a piece of hair. And to him duality or diversity is unreal and false. So even the status of the gods is worth less than a piece of hair. And this is quite revolutionary for the Hindu context, because what many Hindus might be aspiring to is a good birth. A good birth next time round. They might see liberation as too difficult, too advanced spiritually, so they hope for a good birth. But this is worth less than a piece of hair. When thus the whole universe is void in the eyes of the wise man, how does desire arise in his heart? To him even life and death are non-different. On examination even the body, etc. seem to be unreal and false. When even the mind has ceased with the cessation of notions concerning the body and the world, the self or the infinite consciousness alone remains. And this is what the spiritual practitioner realizes. Resting in the underlying essential awareness is what is real. We do not need to fret about notions, about anything else, because all this arises in consciousness. All the objects, all the people, all the feelings associated with these objects and people, they all arise in consciousness. This is what remains. The ego sense seems to arise only in the absence of such investigation into the nature of truth. When one inquires into it, the ego sense ceases and there is pure, infinite consciousness. When you stop investigating, then you get caught up in the anxieties and in your worries, in your desires, in sorrow basically. And this is why it's good that the Yoga Vasishta is so long, because it's an ongoing process. We need to keep remembering, we need to keep investigating, because it's so easy to lose this realization, this awareness, although it's always there or here. The mind is freed from objectification. In other words, the mind is freed from creating notions of objects, external objects or internal objects even. Daily life is transmuted into divine life. Whatever you do, whatever you enjoy, all that becomes divine. Desireless and free from delusion, remain established in self-knowledge. Since there are no other motivations, let the scriptures guide your conduct. We often hear that once people have achieved self-realization, they just carry on with their religious practices or yogic practices. So that's what you do if you're a yogi or a monk of some kind. But if you're not, then you get on with what your daily life requires you to do. So there are actions which will be expected of you, and you get on with them. If you've got a job, if you've got a family, then you need to get on with the demands that kind of lifestyle entails.